Welcome to Ellie Goldsmith's Relationship Flow. We are excited today with our special guest, my soulmate, my wifey, Martine Goldsmith, Masha Goldsmith, aka Teeny Pop 613 at Instagram. You're welcome, check her out. And we are on a journey, a relationship flow journey with tools for this special timer in Shovavim, and also wishing my soulmate congratulations for getting to the point where she is now officially passing her MADA exams and moving on to hopefully become a full EMT, ambulance volunteer and emergency service person. And I, once again, as a man or as a husband, as Ellie Goldsmith, don't truly understand the altruistic nature that she wants to go ahead with this qualified position of helping people for no money and a volunteer level. Not that I only do things for money, but we are in a position, having a family and being responsible, that I personally try to always, make sure that there's financial incentive in everything I do. So I'd like to hear a bit more from my wife about this part of her soul that's able to be so kind and giving and get involved with these kind of things, and also then bring it together with our relationship skills that we're working on during this time. So say hello.
Hello. Oh my gosh, Ellie. It's a little hard to know exactly what. The second part. The first part I can answer you.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to save the world. Since I was little, I always wanted to save the world. And I'm naturally a nurturing person. So it's just an amazing channel to feel like I'm doing something to save lives, to help people, to give people comfort in difficult situation, and it's hands-on. It's not just I care, or like when I hear an ambulance go past or an accident or something that happens, and my heart races, and I'm like, it's like I feel like kind of frozen. What am I supposed to? I want to be able to do something. I don't want to just be hearing the sound or knowing that something happens. I want to be able to do something about it. So this is an amazing way to do that, to hands-on help people.
So Magen David Adom is, funny enough, a charity. We mentioned before that my grandmother was the president of a group in England. So it's just interesting divine providence that my wife, rather than Hatzalah, ended up with Magen David Adom. But everything, has a certain flow, and that's part of this podcast, seeing that divine flow. How does it fit with relationship? Because that means a lot of time now, where as you go more into it, not in the home or not like focused on the family, seemingly, how are you going to balance that out?
First of all, I've spent many years. We've been married for 20. Our youngest is 10.
20 years.
Oldest is 19. And I have been a very nurturing mother, a very hands-on mother. And even when I've had to work, I still really make sure that everyone's still getting that little touch of love from me.
For example, you made all these cookies.
So I made sure.
Few bags.
I had to wake up at 5 a.m. yesterday to
freshly
go for
baked whole wheat.
For my first shift, I had to wake up at 5 a.m. I made sure still to have Ellie's smoothie ready.
Yes, love my smoothies. I never asked for it, but she very kindly.
He gets a smoothie every morning when he gets.
If I don't get one, I don't complain. I'm just very happy that she offers it.
And the kids get fresh homemade biscuits every day. So I made sure to make...
it's all healthy, nourishing, loving.
So I made sure to make those the night before. And everyone had by their place at the table, their things ready to take with them to school or wherever they needed to go. And they get a lot of love, and it's not just that I'm selfishly doing something. I'm selfishly wanting to go do this for myself. Yes, there's maybe a selfish part of it, that the fact is that it was selfish in inverted commas, because it's something that I want to do, not for myself. I want to do it for other people, and it's just something that I feel very passionate about. But the kids understand that why I want to do it. We talk about it, but obviously I'm not going to take a shift for example, why did I take an early shift, even though I didn't see them off in the morning?
By the way, they were very organised and they all left on time. So that shows to your credit that they're in a good regiment. I made sure
that I was home for when they got back. But
including me. I went off swimming.
We have obviously there's always room for flexibility, but I still feel to have a good routine. Since the kids were young, we've tried to have like a good morning routine and night routine. So it's kind of like automatic. So even if I'm not there, it's like in their blood of what they need to do. I work in time blocks in my head. So even though the kids don't necessarily know the exact time blocks, but they kind of know the different stages of order, what has to go in, and it gives them security and stability as well. And
in terms of relationship flow, I would say that also connected to our Unity Flow and Amuna podcasts, that you have your mission, and your mission in life,
I want to save the world.
Yeah, it's going to bring you fulfillment and bring you happiness. And in order for our relationship to be fully enhanced and united and one and in the most optimum state, we both as individuals have to be optimized. And that means fully using our abilities, our inner desires, and be fully functional as best as we can. And that will bring, when we come together as a couple, that we're more fulfilled people and not just...
I want to read you this one quote.
Yeah, some of these quotes you get are brilliant.
One. So when I say I want to save the world, I know that I can't save the whole world.
Yeah.
But there's this quote: helping one person might not change the whole world, but it could change the world for one person.
Very true.
And that I find very important, and not just wanting to work for Mada, but that also on an emotional level. Just I've suffered from panic attacks and different emotional different things like that in my life. I've been on a journey, and I've also worked out ways that have really helped me, and different tools in my toolbox. And
talk about John Sarno, Dr. John Sarno, other things that are coming up on podcasts right now. It's all very helpful and being part of our journey.
Mind-body connection.
Self-awareness.
A lot of things that we have spoken about in other podcasts, and it's just I just feel like I'm very open. So I'm happy. Like if I meet someone or talk to someone, I'll start talking about myself with different. I'll say talking about myself like in a self-absorbed way. But if I feel like I notice that the person has, I will say something about myself and experience, kind of maybe open up a conversation, because I feel like you just never know. Like I remember telling someone about my panic attacks and then what I do for them, and it really helped, because they were having that, and it really helped them. Just knowing that other people go through things, that you can get out of it. There's things that you can do.
Yeah, just knowing you're not alone in this journey, and I'm really honoured to have you on my podcast, because I know our podcast really, because the truth is I can't really have relationship flow without my soulmate, and it really inspires me your journey. And I'm trying to become more encouraging and more supportive of your choices.
Yeah, it's really like, for example, you say about relationships, like Ellie it's not something that. He's an amazing person. He wants to save the world in a different way.
That's my question back to you, though.
In a different way. It's just that he doesn't wait. I want to say something. He doesn't necessarily relate to this aspect. Say I want to.
Yeah.
So I have to really. You also have to. I have to be strong within myself. No, this is what I want to do, and it's okay if he doesn't necessarily understand it. He's supportive, but he doesn't understand it. It's not something that. He like when our kids need to go to the hospital, or something happens, or they hurt themselves, or I'm the one that usually will take care of it, because that's natural for me.
I have done and been involved, but it's just not natural for me.
No, so I'm saying but
for you it's more natural.
Learning to know who you are and what you want, and it's okay. Like we don't have to.
Well, what would you say about me that you've had to encourage? Like we mentioned about the touring in the previous podcast, going on away a lot. Would you also say my music focus, is that something which you had to sort of learn to appreciate? Like, I'm learning to appreciate your...
No.
Or you understand it?
I appreciate everything that you do, and I totally understand what your mission is, and I totally support it. And
amazing.
I don't feel like... That's why I've always said, like, as much as it's hard for me, separation anxiety, and I miss you and all that, but that's why I've always told you when you were Midnightrabbi, and you know, like, you like, I support that. But then at the same time, we came to a point in our relationship of really understanding each other and needs and work. You know, it obviously at the beginning it can be a bit more extreme, and then we work out through getting to know ourselves and each other and finding that balance of, okay, like, you know, obviously it's important to save the world, it's important to be there for other people. At the same time, you have to make sure that you're charged, you're fully charged.
Sure.
Like yesterday I got back from the shift and I was totally wiped. It was like such an adrenaline rush, and then it was that kind of afterwards coming home was like crash. Apart from the fact I had woken up really early, and it was just so much energy, and it was amazing. But not amazing that people aren't well, but amazing to be part of something so
helping them,
so special. But obviously it was a crash, and so I was very tired.
We're going to have after these coffees.
And then I fell asleep earlier. You know, we put the young ones to bed in our usual way and stuff. But I fell asleep before my daughter came home in the night, and I know that she likes to. She's had some things going on, and
doing very well.
She's doing really well, and she's needed a bit more of our emotional support, and
you just had to crash, basically.
But I totally passed on. I woke up at 5 this morning. I'm like, oh my gosh, I fell asleep.
I personally dealt with
that.
So
Ellie was there but at 5 o'clock in the morning I couldn't ask him. I didn't want to wake him up and ask, were you there? Were you there for when she came back?
And it was actually good for her.
And it was good, and she even said to me this morning, you know what, it was really good that you went to sleep, because then
I had to. It was good for me as well.
I had to work
things. I had time to do my own thing.
I had to do,
that's part of the relationship balance and flow, is learning to have space. Like, we have our times. Right now we're sitting together, our weekly time. It's been a busy time period. We really haven't had time to do the podcast together. So it's nice that we've finally got to that point where you've got through the course.
But that's the whole idea with nurturing, the whole being a nurturing person, like, what is knowing sometimes where where also the person you have to give them space to, you give them the nurture and the support, and then you have to give them the space to also
and even with this podcast
out.
Journey, like, I really wanted to finish off the last episode with a little portion with you, and it just wasn't meant to be, and that's all good, because in the end these podcasts are just opportunities for us to touch base in an audio
thinking
format.
Out loud, really.
Thinking out loud, as you once had a podcast called that, funny enough, and to be able to really process a lot. And thank God there are people listening, and we appreciate it. I've noticed on the blog format that people are following and interested in the concepts, and we try and make it visual and combine it with other projects as well. And I mean, in terms of my wife, now that she's got through this amazing course of MADA, and she's qualified, and hopefully with the health and fitness qualifications all combining, it will come out a beautiful journey, and I'm very excited to see it all develop, and I'm happy to be your soulmate, and the next 20 years and beyond, see where you head. And
it's funny because how did we meet? First we met at the gym.
We met at the gym,
but also
with my six-pack.
But also
around the running.
Once we started talking and got to know each other, like, we got more to know each other. It was also I remember we were always talking about wanting to just change the world, make it like a more healthy, wholesome place, and just being more on. We were on our spiritual journey of an artistic, just being artistic and spiritual, and
also musical. Like this Shabbos is Shabbat Shira, and we want the song of our souls to come out as well. Like, even though you're not a musician, but you are an artist, you are a creative person, and you have a lot of creative tools, and you use that side of yourself to create, like, amazing, like, situations in the home where you make the birthdays more creative, and the decor, and there's so many ways you're channeling it with your posts, hopefully, that will come, and in the past. And also, like myself, like, with the music side, I want to bring out more of a song and more of an energy of unification through music. And that's my whole Unity bookings focus. I want people to be inspired. Like, having music is really an important part of our journey. I think we've connected a lot through music, and I think it's something which is very crucial. You know, I'd love to see more concerts, more opportunities available. Just as we've mentioned, that it just gives the relationship that extra focus. But then there's all these other aspects also, like today's Parshas Aman, making Panasa, to realize that, and then I get a lot of confidence from you, knowing that you're doing something which is volunteer. You're not chasing after money, and yet you're at a level, and I was saying this to someone from Miami, a very rich person, saying to him that, you know, it's amazing when she's not getting another income, she's seeking out another way to channel her talents and her skills and her abilities, and that shows her emunah and betochen, her strength and confidence that we will be provided for. And that's really the message of the Parshas Aman. It's not just saying the words; it's the concept of living it.
I think that if you're doing things that are important for your soul, it will give you the energy to do what needs to provide the income as well, because you're getting that balance.
And who says you have to work hours and hours to get panasa? Who says? According to the Parshas Aman, you just have to put out a vessel in the world, and that vessel will be filled. You know, this partly what this podcast is that it's our message to the world that we exist, and our relationship is important, and we think other people can learn from our flow. But it's also, you know, with that strength and of belief that we know we're doing our purpose, and that in itself will be blessed.
Yeah, right.
I think we can end off today's podcast. I think it's very helpful for the journey that we're all going through during these weeks, and we should all have the strength to be healthy and well and not get into any fear or worry or any limitations of all these rules and things that are going on out there, and to just stay away from the news and the negative flow that's going on affecting people negatively. We should keep in a positive flow, a healthy flow, and I'm looking forward to joining you again another week or so. Say bye.
Bye.
All the best.